So we're behind you, pick your two staff members. Were you gonna finish when I did my graphics?
I do.
I don't know. How you doing? You doing this good?
Yeah, and I just.
I just. I want to know.
It really gives a connection. And I think
It's probably nerve. The first one.
She get my wife, something like that. She thinks the trip's going on today. It's nice.
It means I have to.
I like her.
I don't want to. Yeah.
Oh, I like the meetings. All right, everybody. Hello. Thank you for coming tonight. My name's Doug Orr, and I'd like to call this meeting to order Wednesday, April 23rd, 2025 at 6:30. We get the roll call, please.
Alan? Ellis?
Yes.
Francie?
Here.
Aiken?
Here.
Hodgkin?
Here.
Hubbard?
Here.
Lawrence?
Here.
Mackey?
Here.
Morrison?
Here.
Bertini?
Here.
Fredo?
Here.
Swore?
Here.
Taylor?
Here.
Orr?
Here.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have to stand for the pledge of allegiance if you can. And
To the allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you. Council President Ward,
Motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Second.
is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we'll go into public comments. So, please start off with your name and your ward or your address or city. Be kind and, you got 3 minutes.
Hello. Everybody hear me okay?
Is your mic on?
I have.
Push the button and it's got a little microphone by the head.
Okay, there's 2 buttons.
The one with the person.
With the person.
How's that?
There we go.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. My name is Phil Slepp. I am a 20-year resident of Hoquiam in Ward 1. But I'm here today tonight as a board member of our museum to share some exciting news. As we continue to push forward and by public demand, this year's tours will begin from the end of May into September. New adventures will be bringing families, young and old, from Grace Harbor communities and beyond to share in its wealth of fun educational memories. The museum has created a new youth development program, including grammar, middle school, high school, and GHC students. And we now have on our board, as of this year, a brand new member, and she is a student at Aberdeen High School. So with all of that in mind, the details for all of this, for scheduled tours, membership, workshops, volunteers, private and group tours, community field talks, and lectures can be found by going to history98520.org and then just scroll down the menu to find out what it is you'd like to participate in and either give us a call or reach out through the internet. So I am really excited about continuing to share our museum's mission, and I hope you will join us. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Hello, everyone. Janice Robbie, librarian with the Aberdeen, well, technically Grays Harbor Libraries, but for the use purposes, Aberdeen Timberland Library. So I have come before and talked about these, and I showed you some of the devices that we have, but I just wanted to remind everyone that we do have assistive devices in our collection. They're aids for better living, tools for help with vision, hearing, mobility, and communication. So what that means is, we have things like dressing sticks, we have weighted silverware, we have like the silverware that has the little handle on it to help you. We also have little spinny wheels to help you get out of like a chair easier. We have rose colored glasses and amber colored glasses for like blue light blocker things. And then we also have magnifying glasses, large playing card holders. We have those big telephones with the pictures of people that you can put on there, and you can program like a certain number so you don't have to remember the telephone number, which is great. One of my other favorite ones is we have that talking kitchen timer. So you put it in and it'll let you know out loud how much longer you have, which is pretty great for, low vision. And honestly, for me, people who have squirrel brain, which a lot of us do sometimes. But also, my favorite items that we also have like the daylight lamps, if you've seen those. And we also have like Alexa, Amazon Echo Dots and that sort of stuff that you can try out. So the idea of these is you check it out for your 21 days to see if you want to make that financial jump to purchase the whole thing. But yeah, you can just go to our website, trl.org, and go to the Library of Things. And that's all here. So, thank you. Oh, and if anybody wants, I printed out little info sheets and they'll be in the back. Thank you.
Anybody else like to make a Right. Oh, yeah, come on up.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The first time I've been here, so I don't really know the process.
Just start with your name and your.
My name is Ricardo Huerta and address? I don't, Grace Harbor, Aberdeen, Washington is where I live. So, back in January, around the 21st, I got a phone call from my parents that my mother was dying. We had 24 hours to leave. She lives in Reno. We got there and she was dying. And, thank the Lord, she came back to life after all her kids came there and she saw all her kids there and she just came back to life. Thank the Lord. But what we thought was going to be a 3-day, 4-day ordeal ended up being 6 weeks. Okay, so then I get back home and we're getting everything back in order and stuff, and I get a bill for the whole month of February, and they charged me $177. And as you can see on the bill here, it shows that I didn't use any water at all. I got January's bill, February's bill, and March's bill. And the February bill is the one that shows I didn't use any water, but the water company billed me $177. So I called up the water company. I talked to a gentleman named Dave, and he says, "Oh yeah, no problem. I'm not in the office right now. Give me your phone number. I'll give you a call back, and we don't have a problem giving you giving you your money back if you didn't use the water." So I called him up, and he says, "Well, I'm going to be honest with you." He said the system broke down, and we used what we used the month previous and charged people. But I see that in your particular case, there was no issues with the satellites or however they get your meter reading. I have the statement right here that I didn't use any water at all. And I got one for January, February, and March. And I'm here to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, to see if I can get a refund on that. $177. As in fact, I did not use any water, and I got the proof right here. So I don't know where we go from here. He said, you need to go talk to the council. I don't have authority to give you your money back. And he says, don't get mad at me. I'm just the guy calling you back up. You have to talk to the council. So that's why I'm here, folks.
Yeah, so after the meeting's over, I'll get your information.
Okay.
We'll work with you.
Very good, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. No further comments from the public? All right, we'll move on to the council president's war.
Yes, a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda, which includes minutes from the April 9th meeting, accounts payable and payroll, including check numbers 26223 through 26236, 89326 through 89490, and wires 1857 through 1860.
Second.
Ben and Bert, motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Right, it passes. Okay, so I really don't have a mayor's report tonight, but I got two little things I just wanted to say real quickly is, we're not giving up on the levy. The brick funding for that has been canceled, but we've got our feet dug in and our fingers dug in, so we're not giving up, and we're just going to try different avenues. So I just want to let everybody know we're still moving forward. It's just going to take a little bit longer than we had anticipated. That was number one, and number two, we're all out digging in our gardens, so please remember to call 811 if you are digging and you feel like if you break a gas line, you could kill yourself, but you could also get stuck with a big, huge bill. So if you don't die, the bill is going to kill you. So anyway, please be careful because we're all going to be out in our yards and things, and I just wanted to make sure we're careful. Okay, is there any council reports? Councilperson Morrison.
No A little bit of a long one, long overdue, report from the Grays Harbor Homeless Housing Task Force. The Grays Harbor Homeless Housing Task Force met for our quarterly meeting last Friday, May 18th. We discussed several things which included, we will soon be announcing a vacancy on the task force for someone with a law enforcement background. When I have more information about that application process, I will share it. We heard a lengthy report from the Reentry and Behavioral Health Housing Solutions Subcommittee, which is chaired by Cash McCollum of CAP. The purpose and goals of this committee are to draft proposals that ensure safe, stable housing for individuals exiting incarceration and behavioral health institutions, reducing homelessness and recidivism through care coordination and housing supports, and aligning with statewide objectives of prioritizing high needs populations and workforce strengthening. They are putting the final touches on their proposals to be incorporated into the county's 5-year plan to address homelessness. There will be a public input opportunity on all aspects of this facet of the 5-year plan as well as others in the coming months, and that will be advertised. Our next quarterly meeting will be in July. These meetings are hybrid and are open to the public. At that meeting, we will be taking a deeper dive into prioritizing capital projects and where we feel the county could and should utilize fiscal resources and annual revenue streams, be it public housing, working with planning departments for removing barriers and local zoning, shelters, including possibly hotel renovation for elderly, low-income youth, or other shelter options. We also learned about some tools the state has shared for measuring how much, in what manner, and where homeless dollars are spent in the counties and state. I will be sending out an email to the whole council and mayor with the full presentations that I just spoke about, as well as links to the online state funding tools that I just mentioned. And lastly, I will also be forwarding all of you some meeting links and a survey from the new director of the State Commerce Department for communities and organizations. They are seeking to better understand how they can better support communities like ours. That survey will close at the end of May. There will also be several listening sessions via Zoom. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for serving on that committee as well.
Thank you.
Any other council reports? Councilperson Francie?
I took part in the museum collection committee, and I also did a cleanup, on the southwest end of the Chehalis Bridge, in the area around the dike there and around the highway. Grabbed 45 pounds in 5 bags. And there was no syringes this time.
Yeah.
And I can't think of any foilies either. So just want to say thank you to Public Works for disposing of that litter. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, Councilperson Ellis.
The Friends of Sam Bend Park have held a work party or two to spread bark around the trees where the ground's getting compacted. And we had a really good show of support from both neighbors as well as there's a Grays Harbor Frisbee Golf Association. And they were just troopers showing up with lots of muscle and equipment. And I got a walking tour so that now a little bit more about Frisbee golf. And the Frisbee golfers would like the city to make a couple of changes to the course. So I offered to write that up and share that and facilitate next steps. So thank you to Stacy for encouraging our efforts and supporting our efforts. And it looks really nice. Thank you.
Right. Excuse me. Thank you. And thank you for worrying about those trees. Anybody else? No. Okay, let's move on to our student representatives. That's not working. Okay, let's move on to.
Can't be at a school graduation practice.
Oh, okay. We'll excuse him for that. Okay, let's, any director reports? Director Barnum.
I have a couple items on the agenda tonight. One item is a request to authorize me to submit a request for proposals to inventory and appraise the city's museum collection. If the city council is interested in possibly transferring ownership of the collection or selling the collection in order to comply with state law regarding gift of public funds, we have to have the collection inventory and appraised. We can't have History 98520 perform the inventory because they are a potential recipient of the inventory, and that would be a conflict. So this is just the first step. This is just to send out a request for proposals. Once I receive the proposals and select a consultant, a contract would come to you as the council to approve the contract and any expenses associated with the artifact inventory and appraisal. Were there any questions on that? Yes, Councilperson Ellis.
Director Barnum, it seems like when the time comes to look for a nonprofit entity to take over the museum, we would be putting out a request for qualifications, for proposals, something like that, where potentially the history, our local history folks would submit a proposal.
Mhm.
But they would be on equal footing with anyone else. And where they've already started the inventory and have quite a bit of time invested into it, and there's the software that's all set up. Is it really necessary that we have a consultant do this if our process isn't biased towards the folks here at home?
Whomever the consultant is that we hire can use the existing inventory that's completed to date. And yes, it would be a conflict to have History 98520 perform the inventory and provide the inventory list, and also possibly be the organization to receive the collection. Yes, it would be a conflict. Any other questions? Okay, then the other item I have on the agenda is a request for the council to certify the required 10% applicant match for the $500,000 Washington State RCO grant for the artificial turf project on Pioneer Park Field 3, and also for the electronic signature authorization. These documents are both required by the Washington State RCO and are due to them by May 1st. Our portion of the match would be $50,000. And we'll go to the next slide. To date, we've identified about $35,000 in grants and donations to cover the $50,000 requirement. And I'm confident that we'll come up with the other $15,000 so that there isn't a burden to the city's general fund to provide them. This picture shows the location of the project, which is Pioneer Park Slow Pitch 3. And then I also included a photo of how nice Pioneer 3 looks like when it's underwater. That's part of the reason why this project scored high and is the number 11, scored number 11 out of 240, I think, applications to receive funding. And then last, I have a few updates. We partnered with Harbor Youth Soccer Club, and they were successfully awarded a $17,000 grant from the Grace Harbor Community Foundation. We used that money to purchase 8 new goal sets for the Bishop Athletic Complex. And then on April 16th, we had the Easter egg hunt in partnership with the city of Hoquiam. And it was nice this year because it was actually a nice day. We had about 250 kids that attended. On May 6th, the Bloom team and the Parks Department will be out planting all the flower pots in downtown Aberdeen. And then just a reminder, the Water X Jet Ski event is May 10th and 11th at Lake Aberdeen. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Excuse me, thank you. All right, any other directors? Nope. All right, let's go on to finance with Chairperson Grady.
Okay, the request recommending the city council authorize the parks director to send out a request for proposals to inventory and appraise the city's museum collection. I make a motion to accept this proposal.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I have a question.
Council person, I'm sorry, council person.
Go ahead, Carrie.
I just need to be transparent that my firm is involved in the building at 118 West Wishcott, and I don't know if that means I need to stay out of this conversation or not, because it's museum related.
I don't know that this has anything to do with that.
Okay, I just want to make sure that was all out there.
Thank you.
Okay, I just want to start off by saying I totally understand the city's position on this. And I understand the need for an RFP. I'm not arguing that needs to be done. But in having discussions with the city administrator, with folks from the Friends of the Museum, with fellow council members, I feel like things are very siloed when it comes to discussions with the museum. And I don't feel like everybody is rowing in the same direction. So I personally feel like I would like to table this just for now, until such time as we can have a sit-down meeting between the council, Friends, or History 98520 and city staff, so that we can have those frank discussions, because sometimes I feel like the council kind of gets left out of these discussions as far as the museum. And I really think this is the time where we need to grab the bull by the horns, and start working together, because the feeling that I walked away with from everybody that I talked to is just, there's misinformation flying both ways. There's a lot of animosity, and that's not going to help us get a museum. So I would actually motion to table this for now, and instruct staff to set a date for the council and for staff and for History 98520.
Second.
I second.
Oh, okay, so now we got a first and a second. So on the discussion here, I had something to say, but I'll let anybody else go first. Anybody have any discussion? So I'd be happy to table it. I think we need to put a date out there that we're gonna table it until this date, and maybe, so maybe before that, we can set up a meeting with 98520 and the city and.
I would really like it to be like a workshop type forum, and I don't know, Becca, you're kind of the keeper of our calendar. Do we have a date that would work?
Well, depending on what happens on the 30th meeting, that could always be an option.
Do we need a whole meeting for that?
If that we're here, we have to ask the college if they have nights available, which their dates and set when we can. I have asked them for the May 7th for a workshop. We do already have the 30th reserved, so it's kind of determines how that meeting could go.
What is the council's consensus? I mean, could we do a meeting on the 30th for this purpose?
We'll be hearing it. Change the meeting to a workshop.
Yeah. That would be my motion then.
What is the goal of the workshop?
Communication. I just don't feel like, I would like the council to hear History 98520's perspective, and I would also like the council to hear staff's perspective, because I'm feeling like a lot is getting lost. And I think also staff and History 98520 would just need to have that conversation.
Okay,
So
so
that's the goal.
a presentation on the future of the museum, or how we see the future of the museum.
Sure, and talk more about that RFP process and, you know, the thought of running afoul, as far as the state auditor and gifting of public funds. Let's hear more about that.
And I think there are many models that we can learn from, of both hybrid, where the city maybe owns the building and a nonprofit manages the museum. as well as models where the nonprofit takes over the whole thing. It would be good to have that context better understood as we're looking at how best to go forward here in Aberdeen.
I just want to see everybody get on the same page because I don't feel like that's happening right now.
And I'm fine with all that. I just, I want us to have meetings and be as open as we can with this process, but I'm not into, doing anything that might make us miss a deadline and then lose the whole thing because we took too long. You know what I mean? I mean, this portion that we're doing right now, this portion that the city are doing is not necessarily, I mean, it doesn't really include 9520 as far as we're getting to the point where we're going to include the nonprofit. So I'm all for us meeting and talking anything out as long as we can do it in a timely manner and not kick the ball down the road and lose this opportunity. That's my.
I feel like I need to squeeze you about that. Is that, that's just next week.
Yeah, just next week, as long as we can plan.
Could we add it to the economic development meeting, since that's a 3-hour? It's already slated to be 3 hours, so
Yeah.
it will
Yeah.
probably take up that whole time like last time. I think
Yeah.
that would probably be too much.
I think saying it will be next week is unrealistic because we do have to get a legal opinion on how we can proceed and do all of that as well. In regard to if we're taking this off or tabling this item. So I think the motion on the table right now is simply to table this, and then we can add, if you wanted to a future workshop to be scheduled as soon as possible. But I don't think we could say definite next week.
So could we just okay this and still move forward would that be okay? So that we authorize this portion to move forward as we in our next meeting? Is that,
Plan that workshop.
plan the workshop?
Because we still have to itemize anyway.
We're still gonna
Correct.
have to have the inventory. yeah.
Right.
The RFP does not obligate us to anything. All it's doing is asking for quotes.
Yeah, so I'd like to let that process go on while we're working.
So we have two motions on the table that we need to address.
Mhm.
So the current motion under discussion is to table this item to a future meeting.
Is there any more discussion on tabling? All in favor?
I
Opposed? One, okay, so we table it. And then the second request, I guess we don't have to worry with yet. Is that Right.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
so- Okay, so. Yes. Oh, go ahead.
Liz, would you know how much of the collection has been inventory so far?
I do not.
Most of,
Most of it?
there's a lot of box and paper work that hasn't been inventoried. And we're moving that to last. But go ahead.
So far, as I understand, they've been inventorying for 2 years and estimates are before the end of the year.
So a lot, okay.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff, yeah. Right, Councilperson Fredo.
Oh. Yeah, we request recommending the city council approve the mayor as designated signer and the parks director and assistant parks director as project approvers for the water recreation and conservation for 24-1711 DEV. I make a motion to approve this.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this request. Is there any discussion? Councilperson Ellis.
AstroTurf is nasty stuff. And I'm really sad to see the prospect of us using it as a field surface. It leaches off microplastics and phthalates and all sorts of other nasty things. And, and this being Earth, Earth Month, I, I just have to vote no on this out of good conscience.
Any other discussion?
I'd like to echo,
Councilperson Gaken,
I'd like to echo Liz's statement.
use your microphone, please.
My concern also is the same thing, is the leaching chemicals not being as close as it is to a body of water. That there's been science proving that there's been connection to cancer and youth sports and vasculature. It breaks down fast, especially when you add the element of exercise and athletics on it, it's gonna break down all that more faster. I would like also to see that if we're gonna, with the size of this project, I'd also like to be considered the removal costs now. So we're not wondering what it's gonna, I at least like to know what to expect to pay when it comes time to remove it and when it, how long it lasts. And anything that we could do to keep it from getting the rivers,
To mitigate,
mitigate the pollution. Or to monitor at least.
okay, yeah, I don't know. Director Barnard might know more about that.
Well, City of Centralia just astroturfed 4 fields, at Bourse Park. We've got astroturf at Stewart's football field, also next to the river. And I would like to believe that the products that they're using, which would be the same products that we would use, are in compliance with any requirements by ecology so that we're not polluting the rivers. And this is an important project. If I had every youth sports organization come to the meeting, they would all say 100% they would like the fields turfed. Great Harbor College, Aberdeen High School, Aberdeen Little League, Harbor Youth Soccer, Aberdeen Girls Softball Association have all been asking us to turf our fields because of rainouts.
Yeah, and they're a muddy mess. When it rains here a lot.
French drained.
Yeah, it's, Councilperson Morrison.
It's probably gonna sound silly, but this one actually kept me up last night, and here's why. So this came before the council previously, and I've supported it. Since then, we've had, as you all know, lengthy discussions about fluoride. And we voted to remove that, and I can't in good conscience hold that kind of disjointed logic where, okay, fluoride's a bad chemical, we're gonna remove that, and then not be concerned about the PFAS and the plastics leaking into groundwater, whatever. So, and that, because this is a huge project, it's a needed project, I understand that's a lot of money. But I can't vote in good conscience for this time.
Is there any more discussion? All right, seeing none, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed?
No.
Can we get a voice count, please?
Ellis,
No.
Ramsey,
No.
Bacon,
No.
Hodgkin,
No.
Hubbard,
Yes.
Lawrence,
No.
Mackey,
Yes.
Morrison,
No.
Saracini,
Yes.
Fredo,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Taylor.
Yes.
That's 6-6, Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. All right, oh, back to you.
No. Okay, and now this is. We have a resolution authorizing the mayor to sign the certification of applicant match with the Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office for project number 24-1711 DE.
Second.
And I make motion to approve.
Now second.
Is there any further discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed,
No.
2 noes? Okay, motion passes.
This will be resolution 2025-06.
right, thank you. Now we'll move on to Public Works, Chairperson Francie, please.
Okay, we have three items for consideration today. Our first one is a request recommending the city council authorize the mayor to execute the contract with HWA Geoscience to complete the application submittal for the recertification of the South Shore Lake. I move that we accept this report.
Second.
Is there any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? This passes.
Okay, our second item is a request recommending the city council award the Third Avenue slide repair construction contract to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, Rogalins Incorporated. Contingent upon concurrence to award from FEMA. I move that we accept this report.
Second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And our third item is a request recommending the city council authorize the mayor to execute the amendment with Gray and Osborne, allowing them to complete the design and assist with the bidding process for the water tanks at Cosmopolis and Herbig number 2. I move that we accept this.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. Let's go on kind of quickly. We're back to public comments. If anybody has any, remember, start off with your name and your ward. I saw you moving.
Hello again, everyone. Janice Robbie, librarian, Aberdeen Timberland Library. I just wanted to talk really quickly about two programs that we have coming up. One, we are partnering with the Hoquiam Library and the Polson Museum. We are bringing someone who is doing her weird, wonderful, and worrisome objects in Washington State Museums program. It will be at the Polson Museum Saturday, May 10th at 1 o'clock. That one's going to be super fun. I've been working with the director over at the Polson, and he's going to bring out some items that you normally wouldn't get to see on display, which is pretty exciting. And then the second one we have is actually for World Music Day. We have Peter Blecha, who wrote the book Stomp and Shout, the untold story of Pacific Northwest rock and roll. So he will be Saturday, June 21st at 2 o'clock in the main meeting room at the Aberdeen Timberland Library. The reason why I bring these two up primarily is they are both Humanities Washington. And I don't know if you all know what Humanities Washington is, but it is now no longer funded. It was a part of those IMLS defunding and grant taken back items that the current administration happened, as well as the NEH funding. So this is officially, potentially, the last year that I get to book Humanities Washington performers. So take what you would like and leave everything else, but call your representatives. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments?
Les Bolton, Ward 4. Thank you for postponing the vote on the appraisal. I'm a taxpayer and we had a difficult budget problem previously. And spending money to get a really good valuation on that collection is going to be expensive. And you know, you've got an inventory going on. If it were me, I'd let that inventory go on. The other question that kind of bothers me in this whole thing is if you're going to go and do an inventory and valuation, the assumption is that you're going to sell the collection. And I don't think this body decided that yet. The last 35 years before the fire, it was your museum and you had a $15,000 a year contract with a nonprofit to manage your museum. That's what it costs you, $15,000 a year. And now suddenly we're gonna put a value on all of that. And the question I would have as a council member is, you've received thousands of dollars over the last 7 years of people donating to the museum. You've received some grant funds for the museum. If you sell off that museum, do you have liability? I mean, those are the things I'd be thinking about. And those are the kinds of things that I hope that, you know, not only just how are we feeling about a museum, but really what are the implications across the board? Thank you.
Anyone else? All right, so that ends public comment then. So anybody have anything for the good of the order? Or,
Given that we've heard, hosting a museum workshop next week does not work with the time frame to review with legal and not having any other agenda items, I would like to motion that we cancel next week's meeting.
Second.
is there any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Right, so next week's meeting is canceled. All right, anything else for the good? All right, we can have a motion to adjourn.
I move that we adjourn. Second.
And all in favor? All right, thank you all for coming out. I appreciate you giving up your time for the city.